Hi, I'm Tina Cummins,
We are.
your crime sages. So today we're going to talk about the disappearance of Gabby Petito. We're not going to make this a long video. We know that she went missing a little while ago, back in September, and they found her remains, Grand Teton Park area in Wyoming. And, from the very beginning, Belinda and I, would you agree, we thought, when I saw the video of them in Moab, Utah, that he was abusing her. Then we see this a lot in domestic violence cases where the women will admit to doing something wrong and, because they feel guilty about it, but then they'll cover for their boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever. They'll cover for their partner. And it happens all too often. When Gabby first went missing, I think we both pretty much said the same thing. What was your thoughts initially, Belinda?
Yeah, it was basically the same.
Yeah.
We knew, they were saying it was odd of all of the stuff that happened with him going back home and stuff, and it all fit right in.
Well, what stuck for me is I saw the video of him with the police in Utah when they'd been pulled over, and he's standing there in defensive poses, got his hands down. And now they had asked Gabby, did he hit you? Did he hurt you? And she talked about him grabbing her face and then digging his claw into her. And that was a warning sign, but she said that she had struck him first. Now, what you had said was that a witness had seen him hitting her, seen him being violent with her.
Right.
But what struck for me when I knew that, he was, maybe she had done something that made him upset or something. And then, they started, maybe she was the initial aggressor. But first of all, he's twice her size. Secondly, he's a man. Thirdly, so I noticed when he's talking to the police saying, well, she's crazy, she's this, she's that. He says she's crazy like 5 times. And when they looked at him and told him that, he was the victim of domestic violence, and he goes, really? And his eyes lit up.
Oh, yeah, it changed.
He was thrilled. It was sickening. Yeah. It was absolutely sickening to watch, like, why they didn't separate them. They let them leave separately, why they didn't separate them. It was a huge mistake, a huge error on their part. Now, somebody from this area or from Chicago, where you're from, or Cincinnati, Seattle, wherever, somebody from a major area, they're going to know by his body language and his behavior that that's a domestic abuse situation, that he's abusing her. And it's a cycle of abuse. They'll notice the manipulation there because they see it so many times. I'm not saying,
and they just did a temporary, he went one place, she went the other, but the next day when they met up, who knows what happened and when it happened, but it happened.
Yeah. And I mean, the bottom line is
sad part. That's the sad part.
The bottom line is she's a little tiny thing. Even if she was the aggressor, he was a man. He could have walked away from her. Get away from her. But when his eyes lit up with delight, that told me right then and there, narcissism. Instead of being horrified that they're in this situation and they're standing there talking to the police, there's no upset emotion within him.
Right.
And huge red flags. Now he's been on the run, and Dog the Bounty Hunter's been after him. The FBI's trying to catch him. They issued a warrant for his arrest for the use of some sort of fraudulent credit card use. Right. I noticed today, I don't know if you've looked at any updates, but today they took some more evidence out of the parents' house, said it was personal items that they're going to use to track him. They noticed that, well, they came out also and said that he had contact at the campground with his sister, or twice. I don't know if it was at the campground or at his parents' home, but twice since he came back. Yeah. So have you heard any updates or anything on this?
I have not.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. I know I seen though John Walsh joined. So he's got all of the top, they've got all of the top people involved. So I think it's going to be a short time before they capture him. I don't think he'll be on the run long.
Yeah, something interesting psychically when Gabby first went missing and they were looking for him, Albuquerque popped into my head. Why, I don't know. But if there's an area that's not Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it's Albuquerque, North Carolina, or Albuquerque, Florida, or Albuquerque Street, or whatever, I don't know why that, I have no idea why that popped into my head. But it was for that case. So let's just say what it is. No clue yet why that is. Anyway, so he's got this other phone that he had purchased when he came back, and the FBI came out and said it was not a burner phone. With intent to use it, I imagine. But when he left his parents' home, he left that phone at his parents' home. And so, still.
Yeah, he didn't want to be tracked.
Right. Didn't want to be tracked. He knew he was leaving. He knew when he came home what he'd done, obviously, but don't want to state the obvious, but it still seems like there was a plan there. And okay, so they came out and said that the lawyer told the family that they need to step back a bit. And it was a few days later before they even reported that they hadn't seen him for a few days.
Right.
They knew she was missing.
Yeah,
they knew he was a person of interest
he went missing on Tuesday. They didn't report him until Friday.
Now, is that against the law? Is that interference in an investigation?
They said no, because he was not charged with anything at that time.
But I mean, okay, they knew she had been missing. They knew she brought her van, he brought her van back. They knew he was a person of interest in the investigation, and they knew he went missing. He actually left for a few days, and you're just not going to say anything. You're going to sit on that information.
They said at that time there was no crime committed.
Who the hell is this lawyer that's allowing this to happen? Who's giving them that advice? He should be, in my opinion, disbarred. Yeah, there was mutual domestic violence between the two of them, but let's be frank, this is a grown man. Yes, she is a woman, and men are sometimes abused. But let me just say this, okay? He was twice her size.
Right.
He could have gotten away from her. He did have another phone with him in Utah where he could have called up somebody, said, hey, I'm stuck here, come get me. Found a way to get back home that did not include her or kill him.
Well, and they were separated. Because law enforcement separated them. So at that point, you're not with her. Get your head straight.
And go home.
Get a flight, get whatever it takes, and go home.
Leave and go home.
That was his out.
He didn't do that. He chose to kill her instead. And I don't think necessarily that it was during an altercation that he chose to do that, because with narcissism, he's harboring that resentment.
Yeah. And that's our opinion, that he's the one that harmed her.
Well, I mean, they came out and said, Wyoming came out and said homicide.
Yeah, but he still wasn't. Right. He is, they did say he is the number one suspect, though, or person of interest.
Person of interest. They've got, look, if he wasn't guilty, why in the hell would he be on the run?
Yeah. And why wouldn't he have talked? Why wouldn't he have said what happened?
Exactly. Why wouldn't he cooperate?
And why would you leave an area knowing that your partner that you were with for months, years, whatever, is gone? You're not going to do that.
And he's not. I mean, this isn't rocket science here. What are they going to do? Sue me for thinking he's a killer?
Right.
I don't care. Come get what you can't have. You want to waste your money, go for it.
I agree. I mean, it is what it is. It don't take a rocket scientist to see exactly what happened here.
Mm-mm. No. And, while it's sad for the family of him, I'm sure they love him, and I'm sure they're concerned and worried about his safety and whereabouts and what's going on with him. You know, the Petito family lost their daughter. She was
Right.
and you know, it would be a lot easier on Brian Laundrie if he came in. If he just said, you know what, I did it. It's second degree murder versus possible premeditated murder or whatever. You know, the courts would be a lot more lenient with him. You know, if he just said, hey, this is what happened and come clean. Apparently he's not willing to do that.
No. And he's 23. Is that correct?
I don't know exactly.
I believe so.
I think she was 22. He was 23. Yeah, something like that. He's young.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He's young. He's not just
no rationale there.
I know, and of course, us looking at it, I think there's only two things that's going to happen. Either he's going to get caught, or he's going to
commit suicide.
Yeah. I think that's the only two options here. I mean, you know,
yeah,
his chances aren't good.
If he hasn't already.
Right. If he hasn't already, or hurt someone else.
I hate to say that, or hurt someone else. The other option is, you know, he's trying to get away. He's on the run. And, you know, that's why everybody needs to get his picture out there all over the place, because he is on the run and he may decide to. He's already taken one life, you know, and he might feel like he's already facing life in prison.
Oh, what the?
Hey, Belinda, we lost you for a second.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Anyway, so, you know, my point is that if he's on the run, which we know he is, they found the monster can that may have belonged to him, some other items. Anyway, he might harm somebody to try to get money, to try to get a vehicle, to try to have a place to stay, food, whatever. And so everybody needs to be on the lookout for this guy. You know, it's definitely not in his right mind. He knows, you know, that. Okay, so let me put this disclaimer out there. Anybody discussed in our videos are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Do you have anything else for tonight?
I think that wraps it up.
Okay, and just want to remind everybody, please keep an eye out. Pray for both families, actually. Pray for the families and, you know, pray that they find him before he does.
Yeah, pray for him.
Yeah, pray for him.
Definitely need some prayers.
So he doesn't harm someone else or harm himself.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all for tonight, folks. Take care.
Bye.